feeling cold against your skin. Running through the chaos, letting all the sin. Temptation in a bottle, ready for the night. Craving for the thrill, it's time to ignite. Dark desires burning bright, echoes in the dead of night. No retreat, no looking back on this heart attack.
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, or depending on where you are, good morning, could be good afternoon. I don't know. Maybe you live in Antarctica and it's like daylight all the time, so you never say good night to people, you just say good day to people like all the time, even if it's supposed to be like 1:30 in the morning. Who knows? Who knows where people are watching from? You could be on an Antarctic military base. I wouldn't know. YouTube is beamed live all around the world. It is good to see you all. I'm sorry we weren't here yesterday. We ended up getting called into a court hearing at like middle of the afternoon, and it was quite an important one. So I had to be there. And obviously, I can't tell you anything about it, but I can just tell you that we are progressing towards trial. So that's good news, is that we will eventually get to go to this particular trial, and it'll happen when it happens. It'll happen when we get there. I have a few really good stories tonight. Obviously, everyone wants to talk about Tanner Horner. I will give you my thoughts and opinions on it in a minute. But I also have two other stories. One more in Texas from DJ about a ex-military guy who has apparently killed his wife and is now a fugitive. We're going to talk about that. But I have a third story, which is out of Australia, but actually out of America. And it's a strange story. I gotta say, I'd never heard of this particular one before today, but I have looked into it and I'm very, very interested into maybe we can talk a bit more about it. It's strange. It's been pretty big news in America, but it only sort of made the news very quietly down here, which is weird because they found the guy in Australia. So I want to hold on. Yeah, no, wait, no, Portland. Maybe Ping is getting confused. Portland. Maybe it's American Portland. Anyway, I'll talk to you about it. Oh my God. Of course, hold on. Always at the wrong time. Always at the wrong time. When I start a show, then delivery people want to show up. Hey, I want to show you this guy before when we get started. Skeletal remains found in Portland in 2004, identified decades later. Anytime we get someone who's been their identity has been lost to them for so long, I'm always interested in finding out who they are, how they got there, who might they be. And the fact that this guy had been out there for a long period of time, they found a fully skeletonized remains on December 19th, 2004, near Riverview Cemetery. What a place to find human remains, right? At a freaking cemetery near Riverview Cemetery. Oh my God, poor guy. By two people exploring the area, prompting a response from the Portland Police Bureau. And they're saying investigators recovered skeletal remains along with a makeshift shelter, cooking items, and clothing. The cause and manner of death were never determined, but neither was his name until recently. They identified him as Robert Lee Horton, who had been 47 years old at the time of his death. There's a photo of him. Imagine that. You camping near a cemetery. I don't know why you would be camping near a cemetery, but that is your life. That is your life. And for that long, since 2004, they're just like, oh, we don't know who this guy might be. Some guy. It's really sad to me that for that long, this guy did not have his name, and it took till almost 22 years later for us to be able to put a photo with his name and give it back to him. Yeah, it sounds like he had been there for a while. 2004, they found not much, a skeletonized human, which is means he'd been there for a period of time, right? He'd been there for at least a while, and they said they had added him to DNA testing and different databases over the years, to, missing people, that type of thing, but had never been able to figure out who he was. They did get some DNA work done a few years ago, but ran into a dead end. They then applied to get some more funding. They got another federal grant to do an additional analysis and produced genealogy matches. But apparently, when they first tried this in 2018, they failed. They weren't able to find out who he was. It wasn't until last year that they wanted to have another crack at it, and they discovered that he was born in 1957, missing since 2004, and emerged as a likely match. Investigators confirmed his identity through DNA provided by his mother, with results in April showing a 100% parental relationship. Family members said Horton had moved from Hawaii to Portland in 2004 and lost contact with them that year. Well, he died. That's probably why he lost contact with them. But the fact he was sleeping rough in a tent, it doesn't sound good either. Authorities have now obviously notified the family of their find, but apparently his mother died shortly after finding out that her son was the person they found in 2004, almost like she had been waiting for news about her missing son. How's that? Days after days after the news was given to her, she passed away. I honestly I think she was waiting. She wanted to know what happened to her kid, and when she finally got the information she needed, she felt okay with leaving this world. That is, one, a mother's love, right? A mother's love. I really believe that. I want, it seems just too much of a crossover for her to get that information that they'd found her son, and then for her to go and join him. She went to go and join him, I reckon. That is very sad. I'd love to know more about him. There's not a lot more known about him, just that he was originally from Hawaii and then moved to a wooded area in southwest Portland around 2004. And obviously, he must have died not long after because they found his remains in that year and he was already skeletonized. So sounds like he only got to Portland, wasn't there for long, and passed away. Here, I'll play the little video for you.
New at 6, after more than 20 years, a cold case in Southwest Portland has now finally been solved.
The police say the remains found back in 2004 near Riverview Cemetery have been identified as Robert Lee Horton. He was 47 years old when he died. His skeletal remains were found by hikers in a wooded area, along with camping items like clothing, cookware, and a small shelter. But at the time, investigators could not determine how he died. Over the years, police and the medical examiner's office used DNA testing and newer genealogy tools to try to identify him, but the case stayed unresolved. Then, earlier this year, new DNA analysis finally led investigators to Horton's family, confirming his identity. Police say his family had lost contact with him after he moved to Portland in 2004. Officials say while the man's identity is now solved, the cause of Horton's death is still unknown.
Some great conversations occasionally. A lot of crazy stuff has happened, but it's funny.
Yeah, what a shame that we don't know more about his life. Like what did he do? Where did he come from? What was he doing? But it sounds pretty sad. If we go to, what was the cemetery's name? Riverview Cemetery in Oregon. Okay, let's have a look. I mean, what a place to find a body near a cemetery. Okay, it's a bit of it. I wonder if this is the right place. Hold on. Yeah. This is the right place. Okay, let me take you there. So it's quite a big property. And you see, it's got that riverbank here. I don't know if he was found here or actually on the cemetery's land. They just said near. Yeah, near the cemetery. I am going to guess he was probably found on the riverbank. I would suggest he was found somewhere around here. I would think so. You know, when we hear about people who are sleeping rough, normally the places we hear about are not on private property because they will be kicked out. It is normally something like this, where it's like a parkland, public land, that type of thing. So I'm going to guess back in 2004, it was somewhere along this river line, maybe even underneath the bridge if it was there in 2004. But what a strange place to kind of wind up, and it's sad. It's almost like he predicted his own death. They were never able to find a cause of death for him because I guess his body had decomposed so badly during the time. Maybe he was dumped. I mean, possibly. Makeshift call-offs. He must have been pretty, like, tucked away because they say that the 2 people exploring the area found him. I mean, it's not like they were jogging on the side of the road and came across a body. It sounds like they were, like, actually in the thick of it and then found him. It's probably not gonna do too much to look through the map today because it's, 22 years later, but at least gives us sort of an understanding of the area. Wow, that's, okay, maybe it could be through here. Apparently, backing onto the cemetery, that's the cemetery there. In the tree line here is actually a public park. So maybe through here, you can see there's actually trails that go through the park. Maybe that's what they were doing, and they were fine. Like he was camping in here. I mean, I wouldn't put it past someone to try and camp in this area. It's pretty heavily wooded, and unless you want to be found, you probably don't have to be found. There's probably parts of this area that no one really goes to most of the time. So what a sad ending to his life. I really wish I had more for you, but let me see if I've got anything else I can give you. Hold on. I don't really, but apparently they did attempt an autopsy on his body, but were unable to determine a cause of death. And they said although an autopsy revealed little, investigators determined at the time that the remains were those of a white male, likely aged between 45 and 55, estimated to be between 5'6" and 5'9". They did send a DNA sample to the University of North Texas Center for Human Identification in 2010, but all database efforts to identify the skeletal remains came up unsuccessful. 8 years later, investigators received a grant to use advanced DNA testing to try and crack the case. They did get DNA, like I told you, but it didn't result in a match at all. They actually failed, and then they had to try again in 2025, which they did, and then they were able to track it down using better databases and information that's around now compared to 2018. Let's have a look. Horton's family told police that they had tried to contact the 47-year-old after he moved, but were unable to after he stopped receiving mail. Wonder if he lived in Portland. Like maybe he had a house for a period of time and couldn't afford it anymore. Maybe got booted out. Because if you're living in a forest, you can't receive mail, can you? You can't get mail. You can't get, there's no mailbox in the middle of the forest. So I wonder if maybe when he moved to Portland, he lived somewhere for a period of time. Let's have a look. Yeah, it says here, like we told you before, 2 decades later, after learning of her son's death, she died shortly after, according to Oregon State Police. Really sad, but I hope she went to go talk to her son, who she hadn't seen in 22 years. Let me have a look. Yeah, I don't see too much more about him, unfortunately. But yeah, they found cooking pans, food, and clothing, but no ID. No ID. That's strange to me. I wonder if he was only camping for like the weekend or something and died during it. Because it's strange if he was living rough in the cemetery area and he flew from Hawaii to Portland, you would think he would have some form of ID. So, and the fact his mum said that he was getting mail at one point. I wonder if he did live somewhere in he was robbed, man, but they're not saying it's a murder, although they couldn't tell how he died. Yeah, it's strange. It is a little weird. I am yeah, it's strange that he had no wallet, was camping in that forest area. Yeah, strange. If they're never going to find a cause of death for him, then they're not going to be able to investigate anything else because they can't tell how he died, unfortunately. Pretty sad, but at least they have his name. They've identified who he is now, which is half the battle, really. And they were able to give his name back, which I like that. 2004, hey, this guy basically sat in a coroner's, you know, coroner's facility for 22 years with no name. He had family out there and no way of getting him back to them. Espionage said, it's strange to me when homeless on camping stations, it's easy to lose things. Glad we know who he is. Yeah, Robert Horton. was the so if you lived in Portland and around 2004 you heard of them finding human remains near the cemetery, well, now you know, and now you know his name, Robert Lee Horton. And now he can be laid to rest properly, and maybe with his mom, because his mom died not long after they found out that they had found him. Maybe they can be laid to rest near near each other, because they obviously would have to have had a funeral for her as well. Uh, I was trying to see if there was any genetic genealogy for him, but I don't see anything. What was his date of birth? Did we get a date of birth? 1957. I hope that 1967. There was a Robert Lee Horton, 13th of the. It's interesting. Apparently on the Nebraska Sex Offender Register, there is a Robert Lee Horton born 19th of the 3rd, 1967, and he is described as 5'9", 190 pounds, and was placed on the register. I hope they haven't got the date of birth wrong. It's very close, isn't it? Robert Lee Horton, born 1957, and then this one on the SO register, 1967. Both 5'9", both weighing around 190 pounds. I hope they're not the same person. That would be a horrible update. Yeah, I see. I see it in my searching for anything about him. I hope that's not the same guy. That would be a terrible ending to this particular story for you guys. I'd hate to be like, hey, we found this guy, this poor guy, and his mom, and then we find out he's a PDF file. That would be terrible. Yeah, I don't see anything that links him to it, but strange that he has a bit of a doppelganger born 10 years later, and has the same name, full name, Robert Lee Horton. And yeah, strange. 1950, yeah, I see 1957 for him too. Strange though, strange. Who that other one is, got no idea. But he apparently has a. That would be awkward, wouldn't it, if he was still alive? He's traveling around and they're like, "What's your name?" And he's like, "Robert Lee Horton." And they search it and they're like, "Did you say 57 or 67?" You'd have to be real clear. You'd have to be very clear on your date of birth, because there is another creeper getting around with the same name. Yeah, so a very sad story, but apparently when they discovered him in 2004, his bones had been scattered over the area, most likely by animals. So he had been there for a while. If his parents said that they believe he went to Portland in 2004, it must have been early in 2004, like January, February, something like that. Because to become skeletonized and then predated on by animals and scattered into the area, it's a long process. He would have had to have been there for a while. Um, yeah, they said his bones were scattered over the area. Interesting, interesting. I don't have any more information other than that, but apparently the name is common. Robert Robert Horton, I would expect to be a pretty common name. All right. All right. That's all I have on that one. If I get more, I'll let you know. But I want to go to obviously the big story of the day. I'm going to take you to WFAA. I'm just going to play a few minutes. You guys would have already seen this most likely, but just for continuality and stuff like that. Actually, I want to play this one. This one's better. Hold on.
After 4 weeks of graphic and emotional testimony, a Tarrant County jury sent a confessed child killer to death row. Jurors deliberated less than 3 hours before reaching that verdict in Tanner Horner's punishment trial.
Horner pleaded guilty to capital murder for killing 7-year-old Athena Strand in 2022, so jurors were deciding only if he would die for his crime. Fox 4's Dion Anglin has been covering this trial since the very beginning. Dion?
Yeah, the decision is death for Tanner Horner, capital punishment for the capital murder of 7-year-old Athena Strand of Wise County.
Tanner Lynn Horner has been adjudged to be guilty of the offense of capital murder as found by the jury. Jury having answered the special issues, making it mandatory that your punishment be death.
The jury took less than 3 hours to reach that decision. The 34-year-old former FedEx delivery driver showed no emotion as he stood listening to the sentence being read aloud. A different story in the gallery. You could hear quiet sobbing from the section of Athena's family, her mother, father, younger sister, other relatives and supporters shed tears when they heard the decision. There were two special questions the jury faced. First, do you consider Tanner Horner a continuing threat to society? That answer, yes. Then are there mitigating circumstances that should exclude Horner from receiving the death penalty? That answer, no. For the Wise County prosecutor, James Stanton, this was his first death penalty case to try. He describes the experience and the outcome as being very difficult.
You want to be excited, but obviously that has to do with the death of another human being. And so you're metered in that respect, is that I'm satisfied that that is justice. I believe that that's justice since the beginning, but it's also, like I said, tempered with the fact that, he will die at some point in the future. And so, it's nobody wants to be happy about that, so to speak.
Now, following the verdict, Judge Gallagher gave the opportunity for allocution or impact statements from the victim's family. Athena's uncle, Elijah Strand, spoke directly to Horner.
Tanner Horner, I want you to hear this directly. You did not just take a life, you destroyed a family. You took a little girl who trusted the world and repaid that innocence with violence. You chose to cause pain that will last generations. You say you found God, but what you did to Athena stands in direct opposition to everything that you now claim to believe. But I want you to know that you are nothing. You are a footnote in Athena's story. Her name will forget you. You wanted your 15 minutes of fame.
Will be an automatic appeals process by law, as with all death penalty cases. Now, it was unclear if there were any family members in court of Tanner Horner's. As well, his attorneys did not make themselves available for an interview after the verdict.
I don't have a lot to add except to show you what happened today to Tanner Horner and to say that I think the jury got it right. I believe if I was on that jury that you would have no other direction or option to go in. The facts of the case, the graphic evidence, that jury had to sit through over an hour of audio of that little girl being tortured, molested, beaten, and smothered and killed, all while being abducted from her home. And I think you look at the case and ask, are there any redeeming qualities for Tanner Horner? Is there anything you can find to see if this guy would have any hope of redemption? And I think the answer is pretty clearly no. The other thing is, I believe the jury thinks the same thing because 2 hours and 50 minutes of deliberation time is barely enough time to fill out the paperwork. Have you ever seen jury paperwork? It's pages and pages long. They basically went in there, said, hey, we got to make a decision. Let's take a vote. They all raised their hands, realized that they were all in agreement, and then just went, okay, let's fill out the paperwork and get this over with. That was one of the quickest. Like, anytime you get a verdict under 3 hours, it's basically a instant unanimous decision. It's just like they just walked into that jury room, went, we're good. Yep. All right, let's go get the verdict. That is lightning quick. Lightning quick. That's like they did not even really deliberate. They just went in and just basically took a vote and just went, yeah, we all feel the same way. Which how is there anything else you could have done? After listening to all of that evidence, I listened to all of it as well. What other decision could you come up with? I don't think it would feel, if I was on the jury, you can go life in prison or the death penalty. Under Texas law, you are bound by your duty to the court to find a just decision, and the options in front of you are yours and yours alone. And there really is only one option. There's nothing redeeming about him that you would go, okay, I feel like we should at least let him live out his life in prison. There's nothing. There's nothing there. And sometimes on this earth and in some places, like, that's the thing with crime, you take your risk. You want to commit this type of crime, you take your risk in where you do it. You do it in California, you're probably going to go to jail for the rest of your life. They've got a moratorium on the death penalty. You do it in Texas, and you got to know that the option to send you to the death chamber is real. It is real. They have done it, and they have continued to execute people year after year. So you wanna F around, you're gonna find out. And this guy has now found out that the people of Texas don't fuck around. They will fry your ass. If you do this type of crime, you hurt little kids, you do stuff like that, and you do it in such a heinous way that there's no way back for you, no matter what anyone says, then there's only really one option for you. And that is what he found out today. So, um, not that I think anyone's happy about it. I saw some people online going, "Oh my god, it's the best day ever. Oh, we're gonna have a party." I don't think I feel like that. I just feel like it's just the right thing. It was just the right decision. I'm not happy about it. I'm not sad about it. I just think it's the right thing to do because that was about the only thing that they really could have done in this particular case. He's one of the small percentage of people who deserve it. That you go, wow, this guy really deserves it. I just what else can you say about him? I really don't know anything else you can say about him. He committed this awful crime. I never want to hear that bloody audio. That those jurors had to sit through that, an hour of him with her in the truck. Oh my god, I feel so sorry for all of those jurors that they had to listen to that. That would have been very, very hard to do. Um, and they've delivered their verdict. That is it. And there'll obviously be 9 million appeals. There's always a billion appeals for this type of thing. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I have one other update. It's where Athena's dad talks. Is that the one? Where is it? Hold on. Yeah. I'm gonna take you out to actually that's not the right one. That was from when he spoke a couple of weeks ago. It's her uncle. Her uncle. Sorry, not her dad. Her uncle.
You did not just take a life, you destroyed a family. You took a little girl who trusted the world and repaid that innocence with violence. You chose to cause pain that will last generations. You say you found God, but what you did to Athena stands in direct opposition to everything that you now claim to believe. In Matthew 18:6, it says, if anyone causes one of these little ones to stumble, it would be better for them to have a millstone hung around their neck than to be drowned.
Yeah, brutal for the family. I heard something today where they said, you are but just a footnote in Athena's story. And I was like, that's a great way to put Tanner Horner, because I think that's the way you gotta treat him. He was so desperate to become like this big celebrity murderer and be all over the TV and the TikToks and that. But in true crime, we talk about sometimes these killers who overtake our sort of world and we get enamored with them. Not enamored with them as such, but with their crimes. People like Rex Heuermann, the Golden State Killer, a bunch of others, Ted Bundy, those type of things. All of them have a reason why we gravitate towards them. This guy has none of that. He is never going to be anything like that because he's just not. His crime was just so repulsive. It says more about him and who he is, and it makes him not really not really worthy to be talked about like that. And I reckon, like her family says, in a few years' time, people are gonna forget who he is. They're gonna remember the little girl, Athena, but they're not gonna remember who the hell Tanner Horner is. You ask me in 2 years, I probably won't be able to even remember who his name because he doesn't register like that. And I think the parents are exactly right that everyone will forget about him. He'll be a footnote in her history, and the real story is about her. Mamma Mia said, hate how he turned sideways and put his arm on the chair. The one thing that gets me is in part of the transcript for the audio, he says something like, she says, like, why are you doing this to me? And he says something like, shush. And then he says, you're so pretty. It sends chills down my spine that a grown man would touch a child in that way and then use words like that because you're so pretty, and then does what he does to her. I don't think he's still admitted to the sexual crime against her, even though they found male DNA all over her, and he still denies it or doesn't want to acknowledge it. Um, yeah, he's a creep, and yeah, it was never zero. Keeps trying to blame everything on zero. I'm so sick of hearing about it. When he goes to jail or prison, they should literally assign him the number zero and just let him live with that for the rest of his life. Him and his bloody sidekick, they can tattoo it on his head for all I care. Kathy said, Sweet Girl is in a safe place now. The one thing that broke my heart during the trial, was when they put up the Barbie dolls that she was going to get for Christmas. They put up this like box of Barbie dolls and it had all these different types in there, and that was going to be her Christmas present. And the fact that she never will get to play with her toys, these new toys that she got. And I think that demonstration was supposed to demonstrate to the jury and everyone else how innocent this little girl is and how much was stolen from her. It was a symbolic gesture to the court and to the jury to show them that, like a physical representation of it, and it was really sad. You see them, they're like, this was supposed to be for her. Here, Athena. We may be able to find the photo for you. Yeah, here. I have it. Yeah, I want a better quality. Some of the photos are such like terrible quality. I want a better version of that. Yeah, there we go. This photo right here. And that was supposed to be for her. And do you know what it says? It says, Barbie, you can be anything. And it shows different dolls doing different things. Like one is like swimming, one is playing volleyball, one is doing tennis, and one is an ice skater. I thought that was a very shrewd move by the prosecution to bring that out and show everyone. I think it really did show like how much and what exactly are we in this courtroom for. Kathy said, "How do you commit crimes before this?" He had abused women before, but as far as I know, not like Athena's age. The girls were underage, but not that young. They were like just under 18, and they accuse him of, at a minimum, sexual assault. At the other end of the scale, R word. They were. So it depends how you look at the story. It depends how you look at the testimony from both of them, but depending on where you lie and where you find the evidence on that one, yeah, it's at a minimum essay, and at the other end of the scale, it's R word. So yeah, he'd done it before. He'd attacked females before. Oh, his cousin as well. Yeah, I forgot about that. Sorry, that's a little, yeah, male cousin as well. But sorry, I was talking about females. I thought you meant girls, but yes, and the male cousin. That is a bizarre story as well that came out. What a strange thing to do. Mummy said those Barbies were impactful, and when the prosecutor brought his sneakers out, yeah, the muddy sneakers. I can have a look. Yeah, I saw them too. My cat is here. Hey, cat. Let's have a look. That is not the right one. He basically dropped them on the table and went, "This is what it took to kill that little girl." Huh. Can't seem to find a good photo of them. I saw one earlier today. Oh yeah, here we go. There we go. You know, you look at that and you think of like the area where he killed her, the pressure to get that type of muddle over your shoes. Look, anyway, it's a good result. I'm not happy or sad at it. I just think it is the right result for this particular trial and the options given to the jury. Espion said it seems to me often abuses her younger and younger to get more of. I don't know. I don't know why he chose Athena that day. I don't think anyone knows but him. Espion said, "Yeah, my kitty, it's a big fluffy one." She came over. She's like, "Can I have some biscuits?" She's already had a lot of food today. Kim said his shoe print was on her face. Yeah. So he brutalized that girl. Brutalized. And you think of how little she was. You didn't need to treat her like that. Even in her death, he treated her poorly. Like there's a way to if you're killing people, there's a way to do it in a way that it shows some humanity in your offending. But he brutalized her as if she was garbage, as if yeah, she didn't matter, and that he was just going to be brutal towards her, even in her death. But yeah, awful, awful, awful. Gail said, I think I'm not really affected by many crimes because I hear so much, but I've cried for Athena. I just think it's the totality of the evidence and how severe the offending was. When you look at this scale of offending, like we look at someone like Rex Heuermann, and you go, yes, it's very sad. I feel for the women and their families too. And his offending is so voluminous, it's huge, and it goes over so many years. It's a different type of feeling towards that case. This guy literally stole a position of trust, which is working for the mail carrier, used that position to take a girl who was just playing on her driveway. It just breaks so many different societal norms and boundaries that, you like to think that if you lived in Texas, right, that your neighbors and other people would look out for your kids. And I know we have offenders everywhere, and that's a very old fashioned way of thinking. But still, you like to think that there are decent people in the world. Tanner Horner is the direct opposite to that line of thinking. He is the reason you can't think like that anymore because of him. Not because of him today, but because of people like him. And he just showed you that it still happens even now, if not worse now. Sweet University must be sadistic. Well, I I just don't think he cares. I really don't. I really don't think he cares. And I don't think he cares he's going to jail. I really just don't think he cares. He showed so little remorse, so little emotion. Even at being told he was going to be sentenced to death, he basically just sat there doing nothing. It just bizarre, bizarre. Sean said, was she some type of effigy in his mind? Uh, I don't know. It's so hard to get into the mind of Tanner Horner because he makes up so much bullshit constantly that it's really hard to figure out like what is the real him, because he makes up crap constantly. He's like, "Oh, it's zero and it's this and it's because of this and my childhood and that." And it's so hard to know what is actually the truth and what is just more make believe from him. And I think the majority of what the public has seen from him is make believe. It's just whatever he makes it fit whatever the evidence is. He makes it fit whatever the DA is doing. And that was to me the entire case. He basically just tried to fit everything around the evidence and the offending. And that just, I don't know, shows me that there's no real remorse, no real insight into the crime. If he had any real insight, this trial would have gone very differently. One, uh, he probably would have pled differently and earlier, and it just would have gone much differently. This felt like the whole time he was just trying to squirm his way out of responsibility, um, owning up for anything. Just, just he felt very slimy throughout the whole thing. Jesse said, "It's sad to say, but people are impacted more by crimes against people they consider to be more innocent. You can see the difference in this or Gabby Petito versus victims of Rex Heuermann. The victims of Rex Heuermann mean a lot to me. Um, I have been following their case for almost 20 years, and I've researched into their backgrounds extensively. They mean a lot to me, and I can't wait for the day that we see justice for them. But yes, you can look at the original part of the case. They basically didn't even try to find who killed them because to the authorities they weren't worth anything. Literally, that's what happened. They weren't worth anything. The cops were like, oh, who cares? We got a bunch of dead hookers. Who cares about dead hookers? And yeah, they were basically not cared about. So that's what drew me to the case originally, is that no one seemed to care about these women, and they needed someone to care. And I think now they do. Now the story is known. There's a lot more people who do care, which is great. But 10, 15 years ago, no one gave a crap about them. No one really cared. It was very hard to get people on side for that particular case. That is true. That is true. All right. I don't want to talk about Tanner Horner anymore because I want him to piss off to his jail cell, and hopefully, other than his appeal that he is legally entitled to, hopefully we'll never hear from him again until the day that he is executed, and that'll be the last time we ever hear of him. Yeah, I hope the family continue to do some more charity work to keep Athena's memory alive. And I'm hoping the town, I heard today the town was thinking of doing something every year for Athena, and that they were going to have like a day where they could all come together and, you know, have a lot of photos and invite a lot of kids so they could all have some fun in her memory. I hope they continue with that. And I think that'd be a great way of snuffing out his name and making sure every year she is a bigger deal than he will ever be. So I hope they continue with that community outreach, and yeah, have that day. Invite a lot of kids along, give out like donated prizes and toys and even Barbie dolls like Athena would have wanted, and give them out to all the kids around the city. I think that would be a great way of keeping her name in the papers every year, making sure that her name lives on and his doesn't. So I hope they continue with that. All right. I had a third story. What? What is this? Oh, is this our next story? No. What is this? Okay. Sorry, someone just sent me another story in Tampa, Florida. Okay, we can do that one after. We can do that one after. I want to go to Texas and I want to talk about what's going on with this. There is a manhunt for a guy who is accused of killing his wife. This came from DJ, and I want to talk about it because I think it's always seems to be in Texas every single time, and it is a manhunt. His name is Craig Berry. He's 53 years old, is wanted on suspicion of second-degree murder, and investigators are trying to find him. He's apparently in heavily wooded terrain, and I want to take you out to NBC News so we can bring you this update about it. Yeah, it's gonna wait. Is it okay? All right, I'm gonna take you out to NBC News.
Officials say they're looking for a retired Special Forces veteran considered armed and dangerous after he allegedly shot his wife in Tennessee. We'll show you a picture of him. Deputies say he shot his wife last Friday, then took off into the woods near his house, about 90 miles outside Nashville. You see his wife here. The sheriff's office thinks he was caught on a trail camera. You see that? Maybe. He's now facing charges for attempted murder. Aaron Gilchrist is in Tennessee tracking this one. What do we know?
Well, Hallie, at this point, I can tell you that the wife, the victim in this incident, we've been told was obviously shot, but she has been released from the hospital. She's doing okay. That said, we know that the suspect here is still out there. Craig Berry is the man that law enforcement is looking for at this hour. They've been searching for him since this incident happened early Friday morning. Under the cover of darkness, the sheriff here tells me that he was able to get away from his property.
Yeah, sorry, DJ. Tennessee. Why do I say Texas? I got two 2 different countries and states wrong tonight. Yeah, I'd like to know more about it. So, shot his wife in Dover on the northwestern fringe of Tennessee near the Kentucky border, and then he fled into the woods. I wonder how, like, what? Let's have a look. Where is Dover? I've never heard of Dover. Like, I know Dover in the UK, where the ferries go, but I don't know Dover in Tennessee near the Kentucky border. Never heard of it. Let's have a look. What kind of terrain is there? Hey, it's the Cumberland River. We all know that. Okay. Do we have a street? Hold on, let's have a look. Do we have a street? Let me see if I can find a street that they like that he ran into. It's in Stewart County. Yeah, we know that. Let's try and find the street. Let's try and find it. At Old Paris Highway. Old Paris Highway in Dover, Tennessee. Okay. Old Paris Highway. What happened to the new Paris Highway? What happened to that one? I'd like to know. Did they get rid of it? Did it go to Paris? Is that what happened? Is that the... that's not it. Hold on. We'll find it. That is Spring. It would have to be a crossroad, right? You would think so. Old Paris Highway. No. What's this one? No. All right. Fine. We're going to have to search it. Okay, I see it. I see it. No, that's not right. What do they say? Old Paris Highway or Old Paris Landing? Old Paris Landing Road. Okay, yeah. Okay, found it. Okay, it's here. So they live on a property on this road, and they reckon he has run into bushland off this road. So if there's a property like right here. I don't know if that is the property. It might be. But if we zoom out, what would they be dealing with? I mean, you got water on one side. You got a big thing of water right here. And you've got forest. So they are right. There is a ton of forested area. Can he get across the border from here? I wonder. He's got a hell of a hike. If he wanted to get south, he's got a hell of a hike in front of him. I'm going to guess that he's in the area. He would have to be. There's no way that you could get through. How's he going to get across here? A giant thing of water. I think he would have to be still in this area somewhere. A lot of trails, though. You would think the cops would be looking up and down all these trails in the forest. They would be having a look. All right, let's see what else we can find. Old Paris Highway. Okay, what? $133. Oh, we might have been at the property. Oh, we might have been at the correct one. Is that 133? It was. Oh, we guessed it. We guessed it right. That is the property that this happened at. How did we do that? Wow, sometimes we get lucky. So this is the property where he shot his wife and then took off into the surrounding forest. Wow, sometimes you get lucky. Why is the satellite photo so different from one side to the other? I mean, they live in a very if you wanted to get away from somewhere, they live in the type of property to do that, don't they? Do they have boats? Is that a boat as well? That is interesting if you were planning to get away from somewhere. All right, let's go to the main road. So they've got a really long driveway. I'm not expecting to see anything from here. Yeah, you can't see anything. Let's go up. Yeah, you can't see crap. There's the other home across the other side of the street. Their home is all the way in the back there. It is very hard to see, but it's all behind that tree line. This is their neighbor right here. Where's their driveway? I am a little confused. Like, where is their driveway? Is it not paved? Why does it jump like that? I feel like it must be just there somewhere because, like, when we click on it, see how we jump so far forward? And then we jump over here? I reckon it must be there somewhere. I don't know why we can't see it, or we're not allowed to. But I reckon it must be just here somewhere. Yeah, they live basically behind this tree line. Look at the type of terrain that those officers are gonna have to look through. Trying to find this guy right here, Craig Berry. Let's have a look. He's been accused of second-degree attempted murder, according to the sheriff's office. Authorities have not revealed the wife's current condition. Well, we heard in the video that apparently she is okay, and she survived the shooting. All right, let's see what else we can find about Mr. Craig Berry. He is ex-special forces too. Ex-special forces. Let's have a look. I'm gonna take you out to Fox in Nashville. They had this update a few days ago about it. It's a very short update.
Fox 17 News crime alert tonight. The search is on for a Stewart County man who's accused of shooting his wife, a local teacher, this morning. Investigators say that Craig Berry opened fire before running into the nearby woods. The school district confirms that the victim is one of its teachers. She is now in stable condition. The school district says the shooting did not happen at the school and that counseling services are being made available, I should say, for students and district employees.
Welcome back to Live.
Did they say Craig properly? Did they? Let's have a look. Wait, did they?
Fox 17 News crime alert tonight. The search is on for a Stewart County man who's accused of shooting his wife, a local teacher, this morning. Investigators say that Craig Berry opened fire.
Yeah, they did. They said Craig Berry. Good work. Good work, Tennessee people. You can say the name correctly. You're better than Canadians. I don't really want to do that. I think that's really I'll be kind. I don't think it's my thing. There you go. I don't think I want to do that. I'm not interested in having some jingle or something. I don't know. It's not the 1970s. I think it's like going back to like the 1940s or something where they're like, buy our spearmint dentile gum from your local shoppy or something like this. I don't know. It's not my thing. Kathy said we do have boats in Tennessee. Yeah, but he's not going to be exactly carrying a boat on his back, is he? He's not like, I need to shoot my wife, escape from my property, and while I escape, I'm going to strap a boat to my back. So as I trudge through the forest with special forces and the FBI and the local sheriff chasing after me so I can get across the water. I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know if he'd do that. All right, so let's have a look. Tennessee. What's the big news agency in Tennessee? The one 13WH something, KOAM or something, maybe KOAM. I'll have a look. Let's have a look. Okay. It doesn't like my ad blocker. Hold on. What update do they have? No update on their one. No update on KOAM. Yeah, I would have thought that the authorities. Okay. Let's get rid of that. Oh, it really did not like that website. It had far too many ads on it, and it like almost shut down our our internet. Yeah, let's go to WVTM maybe. Let's see what they've got to say. Investigators are scouring heavily wooded terrain to find an armed Special Forces veteran suspected of trying to kill his wife. Craig Berry has been on the run since early Friday morning. Can't be very good Special Forces if he couldn't even shoot his wife properly. I mean, he failed, right? He failed. Maybe that is why he is, ex Special Forces, because he apparently can't even shoot a wife. I don't know how he'd go in a battle. They got munitions flying, and you're in a mountain somewhere, and there's like insurgents trying to kill you. This was in like in a country home in Tennessee, and you couldn't even fire a straight bullet and kill your wife. I don't know. They reckon this guy's pretty dangerous. I'm not sure. He probably wouldn't be able to shoot you properly. Apparently, he can't shoot straight. They say he is an excellent swimmer and diver. Check the river. Remember, we said he didn't have a boat, and is in good physical condition. He is armed with at least one handgun and is believed to have taken extra ammunition. I reckon he's dead. I reckon he's dead by now. The fact that the last sighting of him was like 4 days ago on a trail camera, I reckon he's dead. They're saying we're not ruling out the possibility that he has received some outside assistance after the incident. We have no information that he is no longer in the area. That is according to the latest update, that they still believe he is within the area. I'm just going to have a look at WYFF News 4. A lot of people saying that, like, how does a Special Forces veteran not be able to, like, shoot straight? And I agree. How does that work? I would like to know how you miss a target who is not expecting it. How does that work? We might have one more little update about him from WSMV Nashville. Yeah, let's go here.
A man accused of shooting his wife is still on the run in Stewart County. The sheriff's office released these new photos of Craig Berry. He's accused of shooting his wife early Friday morning in the area of Old Paris Highway. Barry then took off into the woods nearby. A trail camera photo showed him wearing camo. You see right there. Barry was last seen near River Trace Road. Several law enforcement agencies are going to be searching that area this week. Now, we're told Barry is a retired Special Forces veteran and has extensive training in survival tactics. He's an excellent swimmer and diver in good physical shape. Deputies believe he has at least a gun and extra ammo. So remember, he's considered armed and dangerous. So if you see anything suspicious or you see him, call 911.
Gayla says, have you heard Trisha's? I'm the one who got it on the show for her so she could play it each night because they were unable to quite figure out how to get it on there to make it play. So yes, I have heard it. Yes. I've heard the short version and the long version. Yes, I've heard it. SB Mama said PTSD and his conscious he missed. Are you trying to say that he has PTSD and his consciousness wouldn't allow him to shoot his wife? Maybe. I mean, maybe. So a survivalist? I mean, I want to get that that webcam. So apparently they not a webcam, a trail camera. Where's that trail camera photo? I want to have a look. It is the blurriest trail camera photo. Hold on. Yeah, here I do have one from KTEN. This is what they think is apparently him. I don't know. It's pretty hard to tell with all the pixels. It's out of focus. It seems to be focusing on whatever this thing is right here and not the person in the background. It's a little hard to tell. Apparently they think that's him. I don't know. Well, what time is it? 12:13 a.m. in the morning on the 5th. I guess, well, who else would be running around in the forest in that area at almost 1 a.m. in the morning like they're Rambo, who's dressed in freaking camouflage? They reckon he's dressed in camouflage clothing. I guess if that's the best camera you got, we got problems. I would love to know why that is the best camera they have in the local area. Let's have a look. I want to go to KT or K10. I don't think they have an update for it. No, they don't, unfortunately. I will bring you more. DJ, let me know if anything else happens with this particular guy and if they find him. I want to know in the comments, how many of you reckon they're going to find him alive? Do you think after several days now, well, he was seen what? Well, actually, wait, the 5th? That's today? That can't be right. Wait, no, 1st of the 5th. So that's 5 days ago. So the last photo evidence they have of him is 5 days ago, and they haven't caught him on any other trail cams in almost a week. All right. Now I propose my question. How many of you actually think he's alive and still running around in the Tennessee wilderness? And how many of you think that maybe he used one of those firearms to end his life? Let me know. Connie said the man in the picture looks to have some gray hair. That's all I can tell. I don't know if he's got some gray hair, he's wearing a hat, or he's wearing a bicycle helmet. I don't know which one or the other. Jesse said, doubt it. Probably did the same as Travis Decker. You might be right. Hey guys, how was the camera the other night? Did it freeze up? Did the camera stop working again? I haven't had a chance to check the video from the other night. Tell me if has it been freezing anymore, or since we moved it to the new USB hub, is it okay now? I'd love to know. It's all good now? Okay, good, good. Maybe that solved the problem with the camera. Um, good. I'm happy with that. Sean, thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, I appreciate the people who support this channel. It's gotten a little thin recently. It's like people have decided, "Oh, this channel is not worth my time anymore." So I would appreciate it. I don't like having to ask, but yeah, the links are there. I'm never going to be the one that sits here all night and tells people to do something, but I would appreciate it. It would be very kind. Everyone keeps telling me, "Ping, you gotta tell people," and I'm like, I don't want to tell people. I just want people to do it on their own accord. I just want people to do it because they want to. I don't want to have to tell people to do anything. Jules said, "Repulsive crime is right, psychopath." This guy? Which one? We talked about a few tonight. Maybe Jules came in late again. All right. I want to take you and give you an update about Kumanjai Little Baby. So remember Kumanjai Little Baby from last week, the Aboriginal child who was abducted and killed in the Northern Territory in Australia? Well, we have an update. The offender has gone through jail. No, jail, that's not the right word, Ping. Has gone through court. And there has been a few updates. So there's been a court day. He did not appear in court. He got excused from appearing in court. But I do want to give you that update because a lot of people were messaging me, asking me if Kumanjai Little Baby and the offender, like, has he been caught? Has he gone to court? Has they given him bail or anything? So I think it's a good idea that we do a little update. Yeah, it's a very sad case that this child would be hurt in this type of way. So I'm going to take you out to our ABC local news.
Torres Strait Islander viewers, this story features the image of a person who has died used with the permission of her family.
As the family of Kumanjai Little Baby grieve and remember, and tributes overwhelm her town, the wheels of justice begin to turn.
This morning, I can announce that yesterday evening, Jefferson Lewis was formally charged.
The 47-year-old man charged with 1 count of murder and 2 other offences which cannot be named for legal reasons.
The charges have been made and the man will face the court. We must now let the justice system do its work.
The family again pleading for respect during this difficult period of grief.
We ask that everyone, Yapa and Karia, are together in respecting this time of sorry business and mourning.
A message for everyone from community members to politicians.
I also ask all our politicians, leaders to be respectful of this.
Yeah, so what he's talking about is it is their mourning period. So their mourning period is called sorry business, and it is like sort of for them. It is for them to gather with their mob, and they do it very internally together, and it's time for them to reflect on what has happened, and they go through their own grieving process that in a lot of ways is not very different from how we go through grieving, but they have their own ceremonies, their own processes, and the way they do things, and they want to be left alone to be able to do that in private, and that's what they're asking. They're asking the media to please stay away and to let them get underway with that, for what has happened. So I'll just wanted to show you that little bit from him because I think it's really important that we understand their wishes and that they're broadcast and people pay attention to it. So we've got 2. there's two that I want to play little bits of. This one from a couple of days ago, because I didn't get to see you on Monday. And then the other one.
A warning, this next story contains the image of an Indigenous person who has died, used with the permission of their family. A man has been charged with the murder of a 5-year-old girl in Alice Springs, along with 2 other offences. The girl, now known as Kumanjai Little Baby, disappeared from the Old Timers Aboriginal town camp last week, triggering a massive search. Our reporter Courtney Barrett-Peters joins me now from Darwin with more. Hi there, Courtney. So police have addressed the media earlier this morning. What did they have to say?
Mel, it was never a matter of if police were going to charge 47-year-old Jefferson Lewis, but only a matter of time. And yesterday afternoon, they did exactly that, charging Mr. Lewis with 1 count of murder and 2 other offences. These charges, of course, do come 1 week on since 5-year-old Kumanjai Little Baby disappeared from the Old Timers Aboriginal town camp in Alice Springs. Now, Mr. Lewis remains in Darwin after he was evacuated on Thursday night following his arrest. That development, of course, did spark widespread violence on the local streets of Alice Springs, so he remains here for his own personal safety, and he will remain in custody until he faces court later this week.
So he did end up facing court. Well, not him, but his lawyer, and his crime got a mention in the court, and I'll take you to that.
The man charged with the murder of a 5-year-old girl expected to front court, but instead excused from proceedings.
It didn't happen for us. It didn't happen up there. He wasn't appearing at that courthouse. What is happening with our system, the court system?
The family of Kumanjai Little Baby, absent from the hearing, arriving moments too late.
We weren't told anything at all.
Adding to the chaos of the morning, a Territory First live stream from the court cancelled at the last moment, following technical difficulties.
It should be brought to us attention and telling us that the link is broken and what can we do about it, because we didn't know what to do with it and we didn't know what was going on.
Judge Anthony Hopkins began the proceedings by acknowledging the deep loss of Kumanjai Little Baby and the family's call for justice to take its course. The prosecution requesting a lengthy adjournment because of a very substantial investigation into the matter that would include a very large amount of material on the brief. The case won't return to court for another 3 months, with the next date scheduled for July 30. But Jefferson Lewis won't be present, as he's been excused from those proceedings too. Kumanjai Little Baby's family again asking for peace and privacy as they grieve.
We love you. You must love us too. But what we want is, please help us and give us some time. We need time.
The wheels of justice only just beginning to turn. Elsie Lange, ABC News, Alice Springs.
All right, so a couple of things to break down there. Why is he excused from court? Well, it's a security issue. Because of the violence that has already taken place regarding him, they would rather he not be directly in the courtroom in case someone tries to attack him or hurt him or any sort of number of things. The second thing about the live stream, that was it was a good idea by the Northern Territory courts to try and live stream it due to the unprecedented amount of attention it was getting. But they should have been clearer on when the link broke and what was going to happen next for everyone, the family that wanted to watch, the community that wanted to watch, and obviously the media that had tried to tune in to write their articles and do their stories on it. That needs some work. The Northern Territory courts need to have another look at that. The third thing, why 3 months? Well, it's not uncommon. When you have your initial appearance in court, obviously he's been remanded into custody. He won't be allowed out. But 3 months is not an abnormal amount of time for one, evidence to be gathered, but also for it to be handed over to the prosecution and to the court. So 3 months is not really, it sounds like a long time, but it's really not in Australian courts. So the process of justice is underway for Kumanjai little baby, but it's going to take some time. The one thing we can say is at least her attacker and her murderer allegedly is now in jail. He is in jail. He will stay there until his trial commences, and we will find out what happens in a few months' time. So we've got a bit of a wait ahead of us, unfortunately. Let me just double check here. So, according to some information that came to light today, the Northern Territory government announced that 3 child protection workers have been stood down as an investigation was launched into the department's handling of the case. Reports indicated that 6 notifications regarding the child's welfare had been made in 6 weeks leading up to her death. So, apparently multiple people had called in with concerns about this child and the sort of circumstances around her life, and that no one actioned it properly. And now what happened? She wound up dead. Well, not wound up. She was murdered allegedly by the offender. But the fact that so many people had called it in to child services and that nothing was done is concerning. The fact that they had so many phone calls coming in, I'm just trying to see if we can find more information on that. That is a pretty big step. You don't see that a lot in Australia. This happened just a few hours ago, actually. Minister Robin Cahill reveals 3 NT child protection workers sacked, not suspended, fired. Okay, they have been fired now. The other information said they had been stood down, but no, they have been fired. NT child protection workers have been sacked over their handling of Kumanjai little baby's case before the 5-year-old's death. As the minister revealed, she was initially told there was nothing to see here. And they're saying the Minister for Children and Families is reportedly furious about how her department handled the case of the little girl, now referred to as Kumanjai little baby, for cultural reasons, and has ordered an external investigation. Wow, that is well done to the minister for acting. That is pretty good. Apparently, Minister Cahill told Sky News she had asked the department for information about their interactions with the girl and her family on April 27. She wasn't given a briefing until May 1st, which is when she was told about the little girl's child protection notifications. And they said 3 people have been stood down from their positions as of today. I am calling for an independent investigation from someone who is removed from the existing situation so we can have total accuracy and be sure that we are getting information that we need to get to understand how this failure could happen. The minister was similarly scathing in her comments to another media outlet on Thursday. She said, on hearing of Kumanjai little baby's disappearance, I reached out to the department asking if we have any connection with the family or any concerns. They told me there was nothing to see here. I called for a briefing, which took so long to reach me. That's when I learned there was a lot to see there. I was shocked and questioned how this could possibly happen. An internal investigation into the department's failure to respond to multiple referrals from police and others has resulted in 3 child protection workers being sacked. And then she said she started an investigation process, and that has resulted in 3 people being stood down. There is an absolute reluctance to move children from Aboriginal families for fear of being accused of creating another stolen generation. You cannot use that as an excuse if they are not safe. There you go. So it sounds like the Child Protection Department did not want to intervene in the family's life because they didn't want to be seen as racist or targeting Aboriginals or taking their children. They didn't want to be seen as doing that. But instead, what it allowed is it allowed this child to have unsafe conditions, then be murdered, abducted, and then murdered. So that is good news. Well done for the NT Minister for Children and Families, Robin Cahill. Well done on acting quickly. And yeah, we don't need people with those ideas in their heads working for the department. They need to go away and never be around a child investigation ever again. That is good news in some ways and bad news in others, because you have to ask, if anyone had looked at the referrals in the 6 weeks prior to her abduction, could they have saved Kumanjai little baby's life? Maybe they could have. Maybe they could have taken her and put her somewhere safe and she wouldn't have died. That is appalling that no one checked into it and that no one wanted to do anything for fear of being called racist or any number of other things. That is yeah, slack. Slack is the word that Ping will use, and they rightfully deserve to be fired. You know, you can't do that. If a child is unsafe, a child is unsafe, and you need to do everything you can to make them safe. So Rachel said all children need to be protected. Glad they are holding people accountable. Me too. That is good work. Good work acting quickly. All right. Let me see if we have anything else on her abductor. I'm just going to see if there's an update on his prison conditions, anything like that. Yep, we can go out to, no, not that one. We can go out to, we go out to 7 News in Brisbane.
As the case, it's been a day of high emotion in Alice Springs as the case against the man accused of murdering a 5-year-old girl was heard in court. Jefferson Lewis didn't appear in person, but the family of Kumanjai little baby did. Sam Payne is in Alice Springs. Sam, there were confronting scenes there today.
Yes, Sarah, but nothing like we saw last week. There was no rioting or rage, just pure heartbreak as those closest to Kumanjai little baby came here to the courthouse desperately searching for more answers as to what happened to the little girl. At the Alice Springs courthouse, sorry business on the doorstep. With black cotton clothing and white ochre on their faces, the weeping family of Kumanjai little baby. Arriving earlier, they could only embrace the kind of hugs that never end. This is a family that knows anguish and needs answers. They'd come to eyeball an accused killer, but in the end, it wasn't to be. Jefferson Lewis was a courtroom no-show, excused from appearing via video link from Darwin and spoken for by legal aid. Have you spoken to your client? Police on alert after Thursday night's riot kept watch from across the street. Inside the court, Lewis was referred to by his initials only. The judge acknowledged the family's deep grief and its demand for unbending justice. The case will return in 3 months' time as prosecutors wade through a mountain of material. Do you think the prosecution has a strong case against Lewis?
Not going to comment. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, I ask that all members rise and observe 1 minute's silence in memory of Kumanjai little baby.
In Darwin, the NT Parliament on its feet in memory of the little girl. Many wore pink ribbons.
Her passing has devastated her family, Territorians, and indeed Australians.
Yeah, I agree. I hope they take it very seriously and we continue with this court case for her accused killer. Awful crime, but there's your update. I know a lot of people were asking me over the weekend, what was the latest news for Kumanjai little baby? Well, now you have it. So hopefully that keeps you in the loop about what is going on. It'll be a few months now till we hear more updates about what's going to happen with him. Really, that is what we're waiting on now. Give me a sec. I'm just closing a billion tabs that we have open tonight. Hold on. All right. All right. I want to take you. I have another story. We have a lot of stories to catch up on. I want to take you to Arkansas. And what if this was your home? What if this was what happened when you checked your cameras at your property? I don't know if you want to watch this while you're in the dark, but hold on. Because this is pretty creepy.
See family with a bizarre experience this week involving an uninvited house guest. We thank you for trusting THV 11 News at 5 on this Friday. I am Rolly Hoyt.
And I'm Brooke Buckner. Tonight, THV 11's Carter Thweet shows us how some unsettling clues led to a disturbing discovery.
Harding University professor Dutch Hoget thought something was off.
We noticed that chairs had been moved around in the house. We noticed that some of our food was missing.
He and his wife shared their concerns with their daughter Charisse and son-in-law Mark.
I think they thought they were both going crazy. And I'm like, that doesn't happen at the same time suddenly.
While Dutch was at church, Charisse, Mark, and Dutch's wife Sharon started searching the house. Sharon went in first.
She went further into the closet, and that's when I saw her eyes get really big, and she starts to back out, and she says, "There's someone in there. I see their leg or their jeans or something."
It was an intruder, a man who said he was homeless, who left the house and was promptly arrested.
I could tell he wasn't really a threat, but I had him step outside, and then I sat him down and I just talked to him for a little while till the police came.
The man's story was a wild one. He said he first entered through the home's crawl space.
And he was here for how long, do y'all think?
Well, probably one night.
Before making his way into the basement sometime Tuesday morning and staying through Wednesday evening, forming a makeshift bed deep in a storage closet underneath the stairs. The family says they feel more empathy than anger.
We're not angry at this man. I feel sorry for the man. I'm glad we figured out there was somebody living in the house, because this could have gone on for much longer than it did.
I don't think he was trying to be a bad guy. There's plenty of opportunities where he could have, taken things. It seemed like he was just trying to get out of the elements, trying to survive.
In Searcy, Carter Thweet, THV 11 News.
There you go. This family finds out that a homeless man had crawled into their home through a crawl space and basically had lived in their home for a number of days. I don't know how you would feel about that, but I'm sure I know a lot of you live alone or are single, and to find out that a person had somehow integrated themselves into your home, I think you would be a little freaked out. I think that is horrifying. Not so much because of the guy, but I think because of just the circumstances of having to figure that out and then trying to find out where is he still in the property, all those type of things. It is pretty creepy. Yeah. I'm trying to find out if we can find anything else about it for you. Yeah, we've got a mugshot of the guy, apparently. I think this is him. Yeah. I think this is him anyway, unless there's two people doing this. Here's a mugshot. I don't know what happened to his face. I think he maybe got into the Crayolas, into the Sharpie markers or something. What happened to his face, man? He's been drawing on his. I don't know what happened to his face. It's like he's been drawing on himself. He like breaks into homes, steals your Sharpies, and then draws on his face. Is that what he does? Maybe. But this looks like maybe him. They say an Arkansas man and his wife noticed food missing and small items moved around their home before making a shocking discovery in their basement last week. And they're saying, according to Dutch Hoggett, a pair of his work shoes vanished without a trace, and chairs were then placed in different areas around the home he shares with his wife, Sharon. Haggett told KTVB they also noticed some of our food was missing. The couple's daughter, Charisse, told KARK that her parents noticed one of their donuts had been eaten while they were out of the house, and an apple had been eaten. Sharon, along with her daughter and Charisse's husband, Mark, decided to investigate. It didn't take long to unravel the mystery. While Sharon began exploring the storage area underneath the basement stairs, she came across a man hiding in the closet. She said she saw somebody's legs or jeans and told the outlet, I could see that she was freaked out. They backed out of the room, and that's when one of the males went in, and they had a baseball bat in hand. They yelled out at the man to come out, which he did, after Gregory began hitting the door frame with the bat. The man, who was later identified as 41-year-old Preston Landis, was arrested on charges of residential burglary and theft of property. Apparently, he has been taken to jail for the meantime. So that is his mugshot that you have there. Preston Scott Landis. They're saying the area was hit hard by a storm, and they believe he was just trying to get out of the weather. I don't know. He's got Sharpie all over his head. I don't know whether that story jives or not, but he's I don't know, maybe he ran through like blackberry bush or something. You know, blackberry bush with the thorns on it? Maybe that's what he did. Ran through a thicket. Yeah, I know. When someone steals your donuts, you got to be like, no, we have to investigate and find out who took the donuts, right? Having a bad face day, he is. Jesse said that doesn't look like the guy from the video. Apparently it is. Apparently it is the same guy. That is what it's saying anyway. Hold on. I'll double check, but yeah, it's the same guy. It is the yep, it's the same guy, because Dutch Hoggett is this man right here, and that is the guy we saw in the video. That is him at the University of Arkansas, and that is the same man that we saw on the first video. Rachel said it's sad, but you don't have a right to do that. Yes. He looked like he had hair in the video. Maybe it was just maybe he just drew hair on. Maybe that's what he did. Does he have eyes? I don't know. I reckon he's high. Maybe he's like super high. He's like, bro, why am I here? I just took my last hit. I am like super out of it, bro. There you go. He looks like he's really high. He's like, I just smoked my last quarter of weed and I fell asleep in the basement. Sean says, Mom, I want you to meet someone. Yeah, I want you to meet the guy with lines all over his face. That's what I want you to do. So there you go. He's been taken into custody. I don't know what will happen to him now. Hopefully he doesn't break into any more homes in the area. Let me see if we can find. I reckon he's got a history. If we look up jail records, I bet you we find more about him. So apparently he was booked into the White County Sheriff's Office on theft of property under $1,000. He's on a $15,000 bond, and the charge is residential burglary. But it doesn't tell us anything else. Let's see. Oh, this guy is that him? No way. Is that him? They're saying this is him. This is him from 2013, and they arrested him for a drugstore robbery back in 2013. Yeah, this was in Arkansas as well. This was like over 11 years ago. Wait, 11 years ago? Yeah, 11 years ago. That is apparently him about a decade ago. Wow, the spiral of drug addiction really gets you. That is brutal. His history is tattooed all over his face. Yeah, I mean, that's him today. And that other photo was him 10 years ago. Jeez, what a downfall. What a downfall for him. 13 years. That's what 13 years of drug addiction and living on the streets can do to you. Jesus, that's terrible. Let's have a look. Yeah, he was arrested back in 2013. Yeah, not far away from where the other one happened. There's the article for it. He was arrested back in 2013 at a home on Williams Avenue. Police said during the search of the home, police found prescription medication as well as a handgun matching the description in a Tuesday robbery. Landis is charged with aggravated robbery and is being held at the White County Detention Center on a $75,000 bond. Police say around 1 p.m., Landis walked into the lowly drug mart on Golf Course Drive and demanded prescription medication with a gun. So this guy has been breaking into homes, breaking into pharmacies, and committing armed robbery for over 10 years. So finding him inside of that home is not a new thing. He is not some harmless homeless person. He has a history of doing this also within White County. So he has been at that jail before. It says they took him to the White County Detention Center. That is where he is right now. So he is more than well acquainted with that particular detention center already. I don't know. I can't see. I can't see what he got for that one. Yeah, I'm not able to tell. I mean, I can keep looking, but yeah, I'll try to find what I can. So apparently he has apparently he's got multiple past histories of robbery attempts, prescription drug addiction, firearm offenses. He has yeah, he has basically been a career criminal for a long time, and it's just caught up to him. That's basically it. It caught up to him. So this guy, I can't believe that is him. The same guy. It doesn't even look like the same dude at all. Yeah, Arkansas. in Arkansas. His needs would be met in jail. Maybe it's a better place for him than on the outside. That's brutal. What a look at what 10 years in can do to you. That's him today. That was him in 2013. Jeez. Kim says a waste of a life. It's not great, is it? Not great. I'm worried that that family were like, oh, we're thankful nothing else happened. Well, you never know. This guy is not like some harmless, homeless guy just wanting to sleep in the property. This guy is a career criminal and a drug addict. You don't know what he would have done had you left him any longer. He could have done a million things. So really, really scary for that family. I know they want to see the best in everyone, but maybe not in this particular guy. This one is no good. Jeez. Terrible. Really terrible. If I find anything else about what happens to him, I will let you know. But that is the information that I have about him. Yeah, I don't have anything else. Unfortunately, that is as far back as his history goes. There's not much else to look at really. All right. What else do we have on my list of stories for you? Okay. So I told you about how in Melbourne, where I live, they were firebombing places that sold cigarettes and vapes because of an underground power struggle for the industry. Well, now they have decided to do it to entertainment venues, bars, clubs, that type of thing. They have moved on from tobacco to targeting the entertainment industry. And I want to show you what has been going on if I can get to it.
Melbourne's nightlife is under siege.
Oh, very bad. Very bad. Dangerous. Shouldn't be like this.
From South Yarra to the CBD, fear is in the air.
I don't think we'll go to any clubs tonight. We'll probably just go like the local bars that are a bit more like established and things like that.
There's growing fear in the community
After allegedly firebombing in Melbourne. Since April 14th, almost every night there has been a shooting, arson attack, and even a kidnapping of a promoter, all linked to Melbourne's biggest bars and restaurants. Some venues have been hit twice.
It's Saturday night and one of the
Yeah, so every night just about in Melbourne, another venue gets set on fire. So each night early in the morning, someone is going around and setting fire to these venues, including there are allegations of threats being made. And what this is partially based on, at least some of it, is some of it is to do with they want underground alcohol, bootleg alcohol. They want the clubs and the places to be able to sell it for them. So they're like, hey, buy our alcohol and sell it in your club. And if they say no or decline, they then go and burn down the club or the restaurant or whatever. So it is happening every night down here. They have moved on from tobacco stores because they burnt all of them down. There's none left. And now they have moved on to doing this. The scary thing is you better hope that there's no people inside when they decide to do it. Luckily, most of these have been overnight when they have been closed, but some of them some of them you hope that it's not when there's going to be people there drinking or whatever. You could have a very large scale event on your hands. So yeah, very much like the cigarette wars, but now they are doing nightclubs and bars. That is what is going on. I'm trying to find another video for you. That's not it. Yeah, here. Going to take you to, I think it'll end up being 9 News. Hold on. No, that's not it.
The spate of violence targeting Melbourne. An international crime syndicate is believed to be behind the spate of violence targeting Melbourne's night spots over the last few months. Live now to Christina Hearn in Melbourne. Christine.
Jane, good morning. This crime syndicate reportedly sent a chilling text message to multiple venue owners in Melbourne over the last week. That message on WhatsApp reads, "If you've got this message, we're after you, your family, your business, homes and souls. We will take it by force if you don't comply. The police can't help you." This message is from the cartel. Now, The Age this morning is reporting that the gang behind the gang making threats on behalf of the cartel includes a 23-year-old Australian currently living in Baghdad, and it is wanted here in Australia over the murder of underworld figure Sam the Punisher Abdul Rahim. There has been more than 30 firebombings, kidnappings and shootings targeting Melbourne's night spots over the last couple of months. And Jane, in breaking news, another venue in the CBD has been targeted this morning.
I'm sorry to bother you, miss, but it's been a few hours and
Yeah, so there you go. Just about every night recently, there has been some sort of giant fire take a hold of some sort of venue. Last night, it was a car dealership in Port Melbourne that went up in flames. That one, it wasn't as bad as some of the others. They were able to put it out, and there is only smoke damage. But some of the others completely burnt down. CBD is the Central Business District. So Central Business District, which basically means the core of the city. So like the core of Melbourne, basically. And yeah, that's what it means. So craziness going on in Melbourne with the underworld. We have transitioned from vapes and tobacco to now clubs, restaurants, nightlife type places, entertainment districts, anywhere like that. And they are all under threat right now in Melbourne, that they could be next, that one night that they could go out, do their business, close up for the night, and then the next morning they may get a phone call that their establishment has been set on fire. Don't know. I don't know. Yes, the businesses are mostly smoke free. You can't smoke indoors in Australia. You can't do that. Here, here, I'm going to take you out to another one to give you another update on this one. If I can find it. Hold on. Yeah. Sorry, it's taking a while to load links tonight for some reason. Yeah, let me take you out here.
An international crime syndicate is believed to be behind the spate of violence targeting Melbourne's night spots over the last few months. Live now to Christina Hearn in Melbourne. Christine.
that have been targeting Melbourne's venues, night spots. It comes as a chilling text message was actually sent to a number of nightclub owners in the last week. It reads, if you've got this message, we're after you, your family, your business, homes and souls. We will take it by force if you don't comply. The police can't help you. Of course, there has been more than 30 of these attacks on Melbourne's night spots in the last 3 months. Police setting up a special task force, Ali, to try and combat all of this.
Christina Hearn with that breaking news. Thank you, Chris.
A new twist this morning in Melbourne's nightlife war, with police investigating an international crime syndicate as another nightclub is targeted. For more, I'm joined by former Victorian.
Yeah, so sending threatening messages, and then the next day their business goes up in flames. So we'll have to wait and see if there is any developments on this one. See if they actually find a way to find who is carrying it out, and for what reason, and if they can track them down, if they can track these people down. Like you heard, they think it may be being directed from crime links overseas, and that they may be directing people from out of the country to then commit the crimes here. So that is what they are. That's what they're thinking. All right. I think I've run through all of my stories for tonight, people. I think I've run through all of them, which is good. I will be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow, and I will hang out with you then. We'll do more stories, hopefully more updates, and I will see you then. Hey, I want to just thank these people. Kathy says, please donate to Ping's channel. I would appreciate it. I don't know what we're going to have to do, whether we're going to have to change times. Maybe people think, well, because I don't watch it live, there's no point doing it. I think the creators are thankful for it, whether you watch on the replay and do it, or you're here live and do it. Either way, you'll get a shout out the next day on the live show. And Sean gifted a couple of memberships. I don't know who got them, but I appreciate it. And Kim has been a member for 5 months. Our members are fantastic. We have so many, and they are the heartbeat of this channel. And I appreciate all of them. They are very, very kind. Yeah, very kind. I appreciate everyone who's a member each month is very, very valuable, and I appreciate them. Wish they would come hang out more in the chat each night. Kathy said, I'll be working on your show tune to the tune of Juicy Fruit Gum. Well, I don't even know what that is. What is a Juicy Fruit Gum? Okay, Juicy Fruit. Maybe that is going to be your nickname. We're going to call you Juicy Fruit from now on. All right. I love you all. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll see you then. Thanks for being at the channel tonight. I hope that was enough updates for you. I had about 50 million of them. Hopefully tomorrow, another 50 million. Good night, everyone. Bye.